20 CS2 knives versus 20 Valorant knives. Let's go. I'm trying to make this not biased, but if it slips out, it slips out. I'm sorry. Starting with Valorant, we have the waveform, sings when you inspect it. Next is the Arax's blade things. It looks like the aliens from Independence Day. Next is the Champion's kunai, and it could have been a skeleton knife. It really could have been. Celestial fan, Jesus. Black market butterfly, come on now. The glitch pop dagger, I mean, it would look good, but it's a bit too much for me. Oni katana, I mean, it's actually alright. Good animations. Sovereign sword, it's quite overrated. It doesn't have anything special about it. Next is the RGX butterfly, and oh, you have ADHD if you use this. Champion butterfly, if you top frag, it's a ruby. If you don't, yikes. VCT,
lock in.
The iron karambit is a bit small. The ignite fan, again, it's a fan, but actually it looks pretty alright. This was supposed to be only Chinese, but I guess Riot was money hungry. Next is the champion karambit, and again, if you top frag, it glows. If you don't, sucks for you. Overdrive blade, it glows when you don't top frag, so the RGX blade, it's alright. The Reaver Karambit is, in my opinion, the best knife in Valorant. Really, it's actually simple and has good animations. The Kuronami blade, shit, I don't know, fidget spinner. The Xeno Hunter is basically the classic knife. And the Prime Karambit, banana. Oh, and the bonus one for Onepixel, the Blast X Polymer Knife Tech Coated Knife. Just listen to this. Now we finally get into the good stuff, CS knives. Starting with the Kukri, it's already a bad start. It looks like a giant Navaja. Next is a skeleton knife, and please release the Dopplers. Next is a Nomad knife, and it looks kind of bulky. The pull-out animation, I don't know about that. The paracord is way too chunky, even chunkier than the Nomad. There are some finishes that look pretty good with the paracord. Next is the Survival, and it looks like an off-brand Huntsman. Sorry. Stiletto or the Toothpick. It's honestly pretty clean, and the sounds, damn. The Talon knife is next, and it's a bigger karambit. Next is the classic knife, and even when you don't expect it, it does animations. It's pretty alright. Next is the Ursus, and this is all I have to show. The Navaja, I don't know. The Bowie knife looks like the Sovereign sword. It's big, chunky, but I mean, the Inspect is alright. Next is the Shadow daggers, also known as butt. Some finishes do look pretty alright though. The Falchion knife, this is actually the opposite. Some finishes look absolutely horrendous, but it isn't a bad knife overall. Now the actual butterfly knife, it looks so good and it sounds so good, but when everyone is using it in servers and all you hear is grinding away at your ears, it's not a good feeling. The Huntsman is just a normal big knife, it's alright. The M9 bayonet is a spiky bayonet. The Karambit, come on now, it's the best in both games. Normal bayonet is a bit too thin for me, or I don't know. The flip knife is just underrated. It's actually pretty good, especially in a Doppler, Jesus. And the last one is the gut knife. Since one-on-one, these knives cannot be compared with each other because of the different game styles and stuff, I'm going to be ranking them based on function. Starting off is the animations, and both games work the same. Every single knife in both games belong in a category where the pullout animations are different. Except CSGO, I think, has a pullout animation for almost all of their knives, and only like 2 or 3 of them are actually repeated. Some have rare pullout animations, and that's the problem for me. Because that pullout animation is the good one, but it's rare and you can't see it all the time. Overall, I think Valorant went overkill with animations because this is the butterfly inspects in both games and you can see which one is longer. Honestly, it's not a good way to start it off, but animations, it's up to you. So you guys can decide on that. Next up is the price. And while the shittiest knife in CSGO costs almost double what it costs in Valorant, you can still sell it and buy something else, while in Valorant you just have it gathering dust. The point goes to Valorant though, because even though knives work better in CS, the prices are still lower in Valorant, so. Next up is the availability, and this goes to CS. You can browse the market anytime, but on Valorant you have to wait and wait and wait for a knife. Next is how many people actually buy the knives, and I think it's a lot more in Valorant. The thing is that the default knife actually looks pretty good and you don't need to buy a knife. While in Valorant, again, the default isn't too bad, but it's much worse than CS, so you basically have to have a knife. Even in unrated games, you still see people with knives, but I've been in Gold Nova 4 and even above, and I did not see anyone using a knife in CS. Now the sound effects, this is up to you as well, but personally I'm going to give it to CS. Overall, there are so many sound effects in Valorant of the abilities, guns, and just voice lines that you don't even notice that your knife is singing. But in CS, when you're trying to clutch up and you just start spinning the Ursus. Next up is variety, and I think a point goes for both. In CS, every single knife has a finish, but in Valorant, knives have variants, so yeah. So overall, if we want an unbiased opinion, the games are totally different and they cannot be compared. But if we want a biased opinion from me, I have more hours in Valorant, so I'm going to choose CS. Anyway, if you enjoyed, subscribe. If you didn't, don't. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.